Since the late 17th century, Benin Republic's coastal shore have played an important role to the transatlantic trade routes, linking markets in Europe, Asia, and the American continent. Fast forward to the 21st century, the Cotonou Autonomous Port, through methodical means, maintains a strong influence on the economy of the country. It has since been dubbed the engine of Benin's economy. With the surge of the COVID-19 pandemic, countries have adopted stricter border policies to limit the flow of goods, services, and people. But these measures come at the cost of an economic slowdown, forcing governments hardest hit by the epidemic to choose between the vitality of their economy and the safety of their people. So far, Benin has 16 confirmed cases of the virus in its territories. These cases can be traced both to the land and air frontiers, making the seaport the only frontier to have recorded no passage of the COVID-19 despite its active operations. With a limited number of cases, the country's government isn't yet forced to pick between its economic vitality and the safety of its people, but the port authorities aren't taking anything to chance. As they bear full knowledge, a blemish on their record could well turn the wrong attention on the port, turning it from friend of the economy to foe of the people. On site, it was clear adequate measures have been taken to help filter and red flag suspected cases, repelling and containing COVID-19. To ensure the smooth sailing of Benin's economic engine, stronger measures are taken on a daily basis.
As COVID-19 continues its war tour, disrespecting sovereign borders, African countries have so far found it difficult to contain or repel the contagion hitting our cities. As COVID-19 has no respect for borders, has no respect for social races, has no respect for social class. So far, the airport has been the #1 gateway facilitating the movement and spreading of this virus worldwide. But the land and seaports are just as much vulnerable frontiers. Today we have the Port Autonomous de Cotonou to find out the measures authorities are taking to help curb the virus from hitting land from the seas.
Mr. George Varango, the spokesperson for the port authorities on COVID-19 related cases, sat with us to review measures the government has taken to ensure the port stays safe for business and the public, providing vitality while assuring the safety of its people.
Bien entendu, vous comprenez que le port est un pôle d'activité important pour le Bénin, qui reçoit d'abord beaucoup de personnes qui viennent y travailler.
You can understand that the harbor is an important activity pole for Benin, which receives a lot of people coming in to work. But we also receive international ships which transport passengers and crew who come to work in the Cotonou harbor. So we pretty early took the measure of the situation. The general management of the harbor firstly put into place a monitoring committee, just like what is done at the level of the government, to follow the pandemic at the level of the harbor platform. We also took measures in order to respect the minimal hygiene measures necessary in such situations and to observe healthy behaviors at the level of users and the personnel of the Autonomous Cotonou harbor. The action of the general management has 3 branches: to inform, to raise awareness, and to take measures which permit to respect a certain number of hygiene measures and healthy behaviors. We are staying in line with the policy implemented by the government in order to respect those measures and adapt them to the harbor context. As of February, the general management of the Autonomous Cotonou harbor took a circular note to ask all the users and workers of the platform to respect the basic principles like hand washing, avoiding hugs, avoiding handshakes, and to do some meetings via other channels rather than doing them physically, for example, through video conferences or mails. And we continue by reinforcing those measures when the situation requires it. There are 2 main aspects. We have the physical entrances of the harbor through which people enter to work. At those levels, we put hand-washing units for hygiene. At the level of ships, a certain number of measures were taken. We have there a unit of the Ministry of Health which systematically controls ships and make sure there is no sick person on board. Furthermore, we have taken the decision to request from ships 48 hours before they dock in at the Cotonou harbor to produce a document on the health state of the crew member. And if needed, we will even go further by locking down crew members on the ship in the event of risks for populations here. Those measures will increase with time, and a monitoring committee is weekly examining them to see if there is a need for reinforcement.
Ce sont des mesures qui vont aller crescendo. Il y a un comité de suivi qui examine hebdomadairement ces mesures pour voir s'il faut les renforcer, et ça se fait de manière régulière.
Staffs, officials, and visitors on entry into its ports must maintain strict rules, like temperature scanning. My temperature was recorded at 35.5 degrees Celsius, the average norm, which means I'm all good. Temperatures ranging from 38 to 40 degrees Celsius are suspect and are immediately red flagged. The port enforces strict hygiene measures for people arriving and departing its ground. Face masks, hand sanitizers in each department wing, even bleach. All measures to disinfect the host from the presence of any foreign body attempting to hitch a ride.
Ce qu'on remarque, c'est que cette pandémie a un effet sur.
What we notice is that the pandemic has an impact on the world economy. So as the economies are intertwined, the Cotonou harbor will feel effects. For the time being, there is no stop of disembarking or sending of goods by China and other countries. We are taking measures to preserve the health of the populations and users of Cotonou harbor. That is our first priority. But on the economic level, it will be in the long run that we can measure if there has been a more or less big impact. It is certain that on the economic level, there will be repercussions. We are feeling nothing for the time being. It will be very difficult if it happens. We don't wish it. Once again, we are walking in the government's footsteps. The big measures are taken by the government, and we just adjust it to the Cotonou harbor. Closing the maritime borders means not being able to have good supplies. We are not yet at that stage. When it happens, we will see what measures to take. But it is sure that closing the maritime borders of a country, just like land borders, has important repercussions on the economic activity of a country. Let's wish it does not happen.
Comme les frontières terrestres, a des répercussions importantes sur l'activité économique d'un pays.
The Republic of Benin needs its port to stand strong in a time of Great Depression. If its economic engine can run without incident, then perhaps the choice, safety over vitality, or vice versa, might never have to be made.